Okay. I'm going to start in the middle of Ayin Hay today. It's Ayin Hay Amad Aleph. Samti Kadkid Shem Shisaya. Thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. So learning, we should have the Beis Hamikdash immediately. Learning Lili Nishma, Savakal the Basra Daf and Salas Ben Zion. And for Shleima for Up and David Ben Sarah and Gedali Getzel Yasmin. Okay. It starts like this. The Samti Kadkid Shem Shisaya. I will make for you. Shem Shisayach means your wall, your walls. I would make them out of kadkaid. Yeah, it's interesting because it sounds like the word shemesh, which means the sun, but I think it means something that's going to shine. Could also be a shield, not a shield. That would be. Look in the commentaries on the pasuk shemesh umagin, shemelikim. Usually we translate it as a sun and its shield, but I think it could also mean like some sort of armor. So Reb Shmuel bar Nachmani says, "Pligi trei malachi berakia." This is an argument between two angels in heaven. What does it mean? Kadkait, Gabriel and Michal, the angel Gabriel and the angel Michal. And some say that it's an argument between two sages in the west. Maninon, who are those two sages in Eretz Yisrael? Yehuda v'Chizkiah b'nei Reb Chia. Those are the two sons of Reb Chia. His names were Yehuda and Chizkiah. One of them said that the wall of I guess the Yerushalayim in the future is going to be made out of shoyham, which is the onyx stone. Another one said Yashvei is going to be made out of the jasper. Yashvei, the yud becomes a J, and then it's jasper. Amalo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so Hashem says, Levi Kedain Kedain. Should be like both of them. Now, the word Kadkaid is a compound word of Kedain and Kedain. So it's going to be like both of them. It's interesting. The Rashbam over here says, one second. So the pasuk is telling me it should be like both of them, and the argument took place later. So he says, yeah, that was the prophecy of Yeshaya. So there's going to be an argument about this, and it would be, and the word that's used is that it's both of them. Yeah, interesting. Okay. There's a lot of Maimarim on this. Charam Hashem, Charam Yashvei. In Chassidus, it's because those two stones represent Yosef and Binyamin. So the two that are Yehuda and Binyamin, or one, something like that. I think it's Yosef and Binyamin. So the what they represent in Chassidus is said Levi Kedain Kedain, that will have both advantages. It's Torah and mitzvahs or something. This. Okay. And your gates will be out of carbuncle stones. That's how Rashi puts it in French, carbuncula. Tagmianison says Avnei Gumra. Okay, and so the wall will be out of both of these, onyx and jasper, and your gates will be made out of carbuncle. Gihad Yasir Rabbi Yochanan. This is like Rabbi Yochanan was one time sitting. And he was teaching. Also, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in the future, Hashem is going to bring stones, precious stones and pearls, that are going to be 30 by 30 amas. And he's going to carve out of them Eser al Esrim, 10 amas by 20 amas, which is the doors of the Heichal. 10 wide, 12. And he's going to put them in the gates of Yerushalayim. So the gates of Yerushalayim are going to be made out of these precious stones. Laglagalav Oisei Talmud. So the one student laughed at him. Says Hashta Kabeya said that Tzil Tzalem Ashkechinan can't even find the precious stone that's the size of the egg of a pigeon, a small bird. How do they translate it? A dove. The Kuli Hai Mashkachinan. You're gonna find precious stones that are 30 amas by 30 amas. Well, Liyamim Ifligas Finasa Bayam. A while later, this fellow, the student, he went on a ship in the sea. He sees the angels that are cutting precious stones that are 30 by 30 amas, and they're carving out of them openings that are 10 by 20. He says, what are these for? They said to him, these are the gates Hashem's going to use in Yerushalayim, so the angels are cutting it out now. He comes back home. He says to Rabbi Yechanan, keep teaching. The way you taught is correct. I actually saw it. Rabbi Yechanan says to him, Reka, you empty one. It depends. Mali with a yud would follow with a loy. Mali with a aleph would drop the loy. Mali Risa, Lehamanta. If you didn't see it, then you wouldn't believe. You're just laughing at the words of the sages. He looked at him and it became a heap of stones. Yeah.
A pile of bones.
A pile of bones, I'm sorry. Pile of bones. Yeah. Pile of bones. Yeah, pretty intense. Okay. It can't be Icy Talmud. It can't be one of those historical figures that we have, like Yashka or something like that, because this is Rabbi Yechanan. It's later. We don't know who he is. Okay. Mace the Gemara has a question. And I will walk with you, and you will walk. I will walk you upright. What does it mean? Kamemiyas upright. It says Masayim Amakishtikai Michel Adam Rishon. You're gonna walk 200 amas tall. Mashiach comes. That's how tall you're gonna be. Twice the height of Adam Rishon. Adam Rishon was 100 amas. You're gonna be 200 amas. Rabbi Yehuda Eimer Meya Amma. Meir says you're gonna be 100 amas tall. Can I get a heichal with ksalav corresponding to the heichal and its walls? That your sons are like planted. Does that mean towers? With your sons and daughters, like the corners of the form of the heichal. Now, the problem with this is that Rabbi Yechanan said that the gates of the doors, that it's only going to be 20 amas tall, right? And here it's saying that the people are going to be 200 amas tall. How are they going to walk through those doors if they're 200 amas tall and the gates are only 20 amas? Step over the doors. Well, right. So the Gemara answers, Kikamer Rabbi Yechanan l'kavi de Beisika. Rabbi Yechanan wasn't talking about doors; he was talking about windows that would allow the wind in. The windows would be 20 by 10, but the actual doors would have to be much bigger than that. Amar Rabba, Amar Rabbi Yechanan. Rabba says the name of Rabbi Yechanan. Asher HaKadosh Baruch Hu La'aseh Sheva Chuppos L'chol Tzadik V'Tzadik. Hashem in the future is going to make 7 canopies for every tzaddik. Shnemar, V'vara Hashem al kol machayin har tzion v'al mikreah. Hashem will create on all abodes on Mount Zion and on those that are for all the invitees. Anan Yaimam, a cloud by day, V'ashan, and smoke, V'naiga, and a shine, and ash, and fire. Lahava, a flame, Laila, Ish, Laila, at night, Kalkal Kavod, and all honor, Chuppah would be a canopy. So all of these words here, there's 7 different expressions. Yaimam, Asha, Naiga, Ish, Lahava, Kavod, Chuppah. All of those are telling me that there's going to be 7 types of canopies. 7 types of canopies, for each tzaddik is going to get a different type. Ashan b'chuppah lama. What is that's what it sounds like. What is the canopy that's made out of smoke? It says, Rab Chanina says, this was someone that was stingy for Talmidei Chachamim. I guess it means he didn't support him. I don't know. In this world, so his eyes will be filled with smoke in the world to come. Why is there fire by the canopy? Rab Chanina teaches it means that each person is going to be burnt from his friend's chuppah. Woe to that embarrassment, woe to that disgrace. Similar to this, we find in the Satam it says that Moshe Rabbeinu gave from his splendor, put onto Yeshua. But not all of your splendor. So the elders of that generation, they said, face of Moshe is like the face of the sun. Yeshua, but the face of Yeshua is like the face of the moon. Also, it wasn't as bright as Moshe. Woe to that embarrassment, woe to that disgrace. Now, the Rashbam over here says that the fact that in one generation it dropped down from a sun to a moon, that was so embarrassing. People felt that that was a disgrace, that it went down so much. That was embarrassing. Now, what it's saying is that so too with the when one tzaddik is going to have a fancy canopy and the other one's going to have less of a canopy, it's going to be embarrassing for them. Look at the contrast. Yeah. One of the commentaries say that that the elders were there by Moshe Rabbeinu, and Yeshua was much younger than him. He was just a student, but Yeshua would set up the tables and he would clean the tables, after they were done. And so when it came time to taking over after Moshe is going to pass away, so who's going to take over? So Yeshua ended up taking over. So the elders said, woe to us that we didn't embarrass ourselves cleaning up the tables and setting up the tables. If we would have embarrassed ourselves, then we would have been the leaders of the next generation. Yeah, that we missed out on. We missed out on embarrassing us. Different shot. But anyway, okay. Amar Rab Chama. Yeah, Amar Rab Chama Rab Chanina. Hashem made 10 canopies for Adam Rishon in Gan Eden. Shnemar be'Eden Gan Elikim Yisa Kalevan Yikara. In Eden, the Rashbam tells us this is talking about Hiram Melech Tzur. Hiram was this apparently Hiram was a big Balgaiva. he lived for 210 years, I think, and he outlived all the kings. He was a friend of David. He helped Shlomo build the Beis Hamikdash. But he outlived all the kings of Israel, the 20-something kings. He outlived all the kings of Yehuda, 20-something kings, all the prophets and Kayanim. He felt like he was a god. He had a throne made for him that would be in the skies. They made like these firmaments, like these heavens over the ocean for him. It's like glass and different types of metals and things, and each one was a different level, and then his throne was on top. So anyway, Shem tells him, "Are you like Adam Rishon, Kol Evan Yakara, where he had all of these precious stones?" So Marzutra Amar, so it says that Adam Rishon had 10 canopies. Marzutra Amar Achas Esrei. He says, Marzutra says he had 11 canopies. Shnemar Kol Evan Yakara, all the precious stones is another one. If you go through that list, it says like the here's the pasuk over here. Eidim Tur Berekas. It had like a whole bunch of Eidim Pitita. It had a whole bunch of list of precious stones, but then it said all precious stones. So that all is referring to one more type. Rabbi Yechanan says Grusha Bekulam Zav. The worst of them was gold. The Kakashav Leila B'Seif, because that's counted at the end. My Meleches Tupecho Nekvecha Bach, that the work of your drum and your openings inside of you. What is that referring to? This is Hashem telling, or the prophet telling Hiram. Rav Yehuda says the name of Rav Amalek Kadosh Baruch Hu L'Chiram Melech Tzur. Hashem tells to Hiram, the king of Tzur, I looked at you when I created the world. I saw that you were going to think that you're God. I created in man holes that should have excrement. That you should know that you're just a human being, you're just flesh and blood. Ikadamri, or some say Hachikamer, that he's told to Hiram, I looked at you, Vikanasti Misa al Adam Rishon, and because of you, I decreed death on man. When it says, where do we have Mikra? Huh? We had on all of the and everyone that was invited, all the tzaddikim are going to have all of these 7 types of canopies. Amar Rava, Rabbi Yechanan. Rava says the name of Rabbi Yechanan. Rabba, it's Rabba in the name of Rabbi Yechanan. Like Yerushalayim Shalayim Azeh Yerushalayim Shalayim Abba. The Jerusalem of this world is not like the Jerusalem of the world to come. Yerushalayim Shalayim Azeh Yerushalayim of this world. Kolaretz Alalis Oila. Anyone that wants to go to Yerushalayim is able to go to Yerushalayim, buy a ticket. But Shalayim Abba, the world to come, only those that are invited, only the tzaddikim, Yerushalayim of the world to come. The Omer Rabba and Rabbi Yechanan, Rabba says name Rabbi Yechanan, Asidim tzaddikim shenekram al shmei shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In the future, the tzaddikim are going to be called by the name of Hashem. Shenemar kol hanikra b'shmi. Anyone that's called by my name, l'chvaydi barasav, and I created him for my honor. Yetzartiv, I formed him, afasisiv, and I also made him. That's a pasuk quoted often in Chassidus, because it corresponds to the 4 worlds. Pri, Yetzirah, and Asiyah. Yeah, and Atzilus, I guess, would be Bishmi or L'chvaydi. Which one is it? Yeah. I think in Chassidus it's translated a little different. Kol hanikra b'shmi or L'chvaydi. That's how they put the comma. I think in the Pshad it's Kol hanikra b'shmi. Anyone's called by me. L'chvaydi barasav, and I created him for my honor. Yetzartiv, I formed him afasisa. Amar Rav Shmuel bar Nachmani, Amar Rabbi Yechon, Rav Shmuel bar Nachmani said the name of Rabbi Yechon. Gimel Nikra al Shmei Shal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's three people that are called by Hashem's name. Three things that are called by Hashem's name. Be'elohim, Tzadikim, Mashiach, Yerushalayim. Okay, Mashiach, Tzadikim in Jerusalem are called by Hashem's name. Tzadikim Adam, and Tzadikim we already said. Anyone that's called by my name, I created him for my honor. I formed him and I made him. That's referring to the Tzadikim. Mashiach, what does it mean? Where is Mashiach called by Hashem's name? This is a name that you should call him. You should call him Hashem, our righteous one. Yerushalayim. Where do you see Yerushalayim is called by Hashem's name? It says the Ksiv, Saviv Shmeina Aser Elef. A surrounding is 18,000. V'Shem Me'ir Miyoim Hashem Shema. The name of the city from the day as Hashem Shama. Hashem is there. Al Tikri Shama El Shema. Don't say there, say it's his name. Shema instead of Shama. Okay, that's referring to Yerushalayim. Amar Rabbi Lazar says, Asidim Tzadikim, this Rabbi Lazar ben Das. Asidim Tzadikim, Sha'im Lefneim Kaddish, K'der Hashem Lefnei Kadosh Baruch Hu. In the future, we're going to say Kaddish like we say in front of Hashem. Shenemar Vayanisha B'tzion. It says that those that are left in Zion, Vanaisi Yerushalayim, and those remaining in Jerusalem, Kaddish Yermelai. We'll say about them holy, like the angels say about Hashem. Amar Rabba, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. It means a marker.
Oh, is that right? Is that somewhere in the Tanakh?
Yeah. Hartien.
Oh, yeah.
I think today Hartien is not.
That represents Bastion.
Yeah, there's Bastien. Does Bas over there mean the cities of Tien? Sometimes Bas or Benais can mean cities. I think in the Maimarim it says Tzion could be the Jewish people or it could be Yerushalayim. I think it could be both, right? Mm-hmm. That's what it says. Okay. The Amar Rabba, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Asidim HaKadosh, Aser HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Lagdias Yerushalayim, Gimel Parsais L'mayla. Jerusalem is going to be raised 3 parsais. How much is a parsa? 8,000 amas, I think. We raised 24,000 amas. Get higher. So, does that have anything to do with global warming? So, Shenemar, as it says, V'rama v'yashva tachta. Rama could be lifted up. And they will dwell under it, but in its place. My tachta, what does it mean in its place? Kitachta, like the size of Jerusalem. So as it's going to be lifted up, like the size of Jerusalem, the same size of Jerusalem, which is 3 parsais, that's how high it's going to be lifted up. How do you know that its place, its size, is 3 parsais? Rabba said that an elder told him, which is Daniel, probably means Eliyahu Navi. There was a taste for somewhere that Saba meant Eliyahu Navi.
Always?
Yeah, that's what. So there was a taste for somewhere that we had there. Is that in the comments, sir? He does refute it. Now, where's that taste? Does he say? Taste is Chulin. States an opinion that is Saba, a certain old man always refers to lies to the prophet who appears to righteous people from time to time, but Taisa refutes that opinion. Let's take a look. So Taisa in Chulin. It's not popping up. Okay. I saw the original Jerusalem. Tlasa Parsi Avu, and it was 3 parsais. Maybe you'd say that it's going to be difficult to get up there if the mountain's so high. There's going to be pain, suffering to get up. Talmud Laimar, the pasuk says, "Mi ela ka'after fenot yenim ala rusayim." it was like this, that they float up like clouds and like doves to their dove coats, to the birdhouses. I guess it means that everyone's going to get a jetpack. What's these drones that will lift us up. Okay. What is it? Elevators. I have elevators. Rav Papa says, Shmamina Hai Eva Tlasa Parsi Midli. We see that the clouds can go 3 parsecs high, because they can go 24,000 amas. Let's say an amma is a 1.5 feet. That would be let's see, 40 would be 8 miles. Is it possible for the clouds to be 8 miles up? Let's see.
I know, like
7, 8 miles up.
Only one of 30,000 feet in the air.
Oh, yes, the clouds are lower. Maybe there's those different types of clouds, the altostratus, cumulonimbus, whatever they taught us in school.
Yeah, man, hikers go trail.
They go above the clouds. Yeah, but there's different levels of clouds. All right. Amar Rabbi Chanina Bar Papa. Rabbi Chanina Bar Papa says, "Because Hakadosh Baruch Hu lasis Yishalayim b'mida." Hashem wanted to give a measurement to Yerushalayim. Shnemar, V'Omer, and he said, "Anata Haylech, where are you going?" V'Yemer Elai said to me, "Lamedes Yerushalayim, leris kama rachva v'kama arka." Going to measure Jerusalem. Sounds like a prophecy for the construction of the second base of Mikdash. But is that what it says? There was a prophecy about the second base of Mikdash. Whatever the case is, it's from Zechariah. It's Mashiach. Well, he's going to measure the size of Jerusalem. The angels tell to Hashem, Rabbeinu Shalom, Master of the world, you built so many cities in your world, Shalom Esalim of the nations. You never set up a size of how big they're limited to. Yerushalayim, when it comes to Jerusalem, that your name is in it, Mikdash is Beseicha, and your temple is in it, Tzadikim Beseicha, and the righteous people are not. The nice Mamidi, you're going to limit it to a certain size. Usually, the cities they keep expanding the cities because more people move, then the city gets larger. People move to the outskirts and it gets larger. And now Jerusalem is going to be limited. Miyad. So immediately, Vayomer Elav Rutz Daber Lanar Allah's Lamar. Speak to the lad, saying, "Prozis Tesi Yerushalayim Mereiv Adam Mehim B'Seicha." Open cities will dwell at Jerusalem because of the multitude of people and animals that will be there. Instead of having a limit, Prozis Tesi Yerushalayim. It'll just expand so much. Yeah. Yeah, that's in Zechariah, right?
So it doesn't have a boundary.
Right.
Technically, people keep on
It'll
moving.
be open because you keep expanding.
What's the Chutzis Yerushalayim?
That's in the outskirts of Jerusalem. That's by Kol Sasa and Kol Simcha, I think. Yeah.
So that's also Yerushalayim. Like now you have all those little remote.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The when it comes to to Yerushalayim for Purim, is it only in the old city, or do they count the for Shushan Purim? Do they count outside the city, the areas outside the wall, or is it only in the wall? Is this machlekes?
I think if you're looking to party, you can't have everything all the time.
Uh-huh. When it comes to like reading the Megillah and all of that, is it specifically the wall or the old city itself?
I don't recall that being the case, but I'm not sure.
It would be very difficult. It'd be very difficult. So the old city itself is so small. Yeah. For everyone to go because they want to celebrate, be packed. Packed. Okay. Amar Rish Lakish, Asad HaKadosh Baruch Hu Lahitzel Yerushalayim. Hashem is going to expand Jerusalem. Elef Tafaf. Ginois. 1,000 times the word Tafaf, which is 169. Ginois. But it's 1,000 gardens. Elef Kafal Migdalim. 210 towers. Elef Litzoi Beronius, houses, but 1,000 times Litzoi, which would be 146. That makes sense. 146. 1,000 times 146. Elef. Vishnei Shiloh. 1 second. I'm not reading this right. Pass me your. Let's see how to read this. This is we're quoting this from a pasuk. Where are we getting this pasuk? Let's see. The words tefef, kefel, litzoi, and shiloi are used for the numeric value. However, in Rish Lakish's town, they had a colloquial meaning, and he therefore used them as mnemonics for the required numbers. Other commentators have different explanations. Taisvus maintains that tefef ginais means level gardens, and kefel migdala means pillars of towers. Okay, what is this? Elef Vishnei Shiloi to Tafres, and fortresses numbering 1,002. Elef Vishnei, 1,002 times the numerical value of Shiloh, which is 345. And each of these additions will have the population as the city of Tzipori in its prosperity. It was a major city. I thought that this was that these words were coming from a pasuk, but over here they're saying it's just Rish Lakish had some meaning for it. It's interesting. Tanya was taught in a brisa. Amar Rabbi Yasi says, I saw Tzipori. Basically lived in Tzipori because he was exiled to Tzipori when after that conversation with Rabbi Shimon Yochai, Rabbi Yasi, and Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Shimon Yochai was said that he was supposed to be put to death. Rabbi Yasi was exiled. Tzipori. He says, I saw Tzipori when it was in its good times, and there were 180,000 markets that were selling gravy.
Gravy?
Yeah. Guess they would sell gravy. Is that what it says? Gravy?
Condiments.
Oh, spices. Tikka kadera.
Even if it's spicy, it's like, wow, 180,000.
Yeah.
Sauces, this is where you different sauces.
Oh, it's meat sauces.
Some sauces are nowadays leftovers of various meat dishes and wine and spices.
They have spice markets in some places. They
180,000.
180,000, yeah, it's a real fair. It's huge. Ratzalois, this is talking about the side rooms of the Beis Hamikdash. Tzela shalish shleishim pamim. It's one on top of another, these side rooms, 33 times. I think we understood it, that there's 33 rooms. My shalish shleishim pamim, what does it mean 33 times? Rav Levi, Rav Papi, Mishum Rabbi Yeshua D'Sichni, Rav Levi, in the name of Rav Papi, what's the base? Some say it's Rav Papi, in the name of Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Yeshua D'Sichni, in Gimel, Yerushalayim, Hein, Kalachas Vachas Bem Yesh Bo Shleishim Medurim. If Yerushalayim of the future is going to be 3 times the size of Yerushalayim, then there's going to be 30 levels up. What does that mean? 30 floors? 30. That would mean that the apartment buildings will have 30 floors. It sounds like, and that's a lot of steps for Shabbos. Im Shleishim Yerushalayim. If Yerushalayim is going to be 30 times the size of it is now, then Kalachas Vam Yesh Bo Shleishim Medurim, then each one's going to have 3 floors. That's more like it for especially not going to use Shabbos elevators. 3 floors is just about the limit. Okay, that's the end of the Agadah for now, and we're back to Baba Basra. Itmar was stated. We started off with Amaycher Sasvina. Someone sells a boat. Oh, wow. So now it says Svina. When it comes to buying a boat, yeah, it's the best day of a man's life, right? And then the day that he sells it is the other best day of his life. So Svina, Rav says, Kivan Shemashach Kal Shukana. Rav says that when you pull the boat a little bit, you take the rope, you give it a yank. You pull it a little bit, that's the kinyan on the boat. It floats a little bit and you're kind of the boat. Shmuel says, Shmuel says, here's your boat. Here's your boat. You can't just pull it a little bit and you're kind of. You have to pull it all the way that it goes from here till here. Then you're kind of. You have to move it out of its original place. It has to be entirely moved, not attached to its original spot. So,
what about payment?
I'm just buying it with the payment. I think because it's metaltalin, it's not considered land. You're not kind of with money. You have to move it.
There had to have been exchange of money beforehand with the movie?
You can do the money could be exchanged before or after.
Or after.
Yeah.
Kenyan is what.
Yeah. What happens if you didn't pay it? So it's a debt. You owe the money. Yeah, the Kenyan
obviously the seller agrees.
Right. Yes, this is the technical Kenyan. When is it considered acquired? And this would be relevant if the guy says, I changed my mind. I know, all of that. So when did the Kenyan take place? So Rav says just a little pull, and Shmuel says the whole thing. Well, let's say that this is a machlekes, an earlier machlekes. Hated b'masira. How are you kind of something with transferring it? Achza betlafa. If you grabbed an animal by its hoof, b'saira by its hair, bukiv shela by its saddle, b'shlif shela, some sort of muzzle, krumbia shebepia is that piece in the mouth. Zug Shebet Savara, the bell on its neck, Kana, that's considered a Kenyan. So in other words, if the owner goes says acquire it and he hands you the animal and you just take its hair or its saddle, you hold it by the saddle, that's considered a Kenyan. Ketzed b'mashicha, this masira would be by a very large animal that you can't no, mashicha would be by a large animal. Masira is another option, large animal. Otherwise, you'd have to do hagbah. Right. How do you do the pulling, which is another type of kinyan? You just call the animal, and once it comes, then you acquire it. You hit it with a stick, press the front of it, and it runs in front of you. So, once it moves one hand, one foot, that's the kinyan. Did the whole body have to move? No. Who does that fit with? Rav. You don't have to move the whole thing. It moves a little bit.
Just calling it. what if someone who's not even the owner calls a horse?
Right. Right.
Maybe
This
it
is
has-
different,
you
though.
have to
Yeah.
own it.
As an owner calling it, that shows ownership.
Uh-huh.
You call it and it moves?
Yeah. Come here, Betsy.
Oh, we want to
Oh, it'd be the name of a horse or some animal. So Ravacha Vamila Ravachi Vamila Ravacha Amar Ravachi, or some say it was Ravacha. He says no, it has to go its full length. You can't just move a hand and a foot. It has to go the whole thing. That's exactly Shmuel's opinion when it came to the boat. You have to move the boat from where its position is, totally out of its original position. So it seems like that there's a machlokes over here. Now, when we have a lema ketanai, we're not so happy with that. Because why didn't Rav just say I paskin like the Tanakama, and why didn't Shmuel say I paskin like Ravacha? Why do they have to recreate this machlokes when we had the machlokes before? So Amalach Rav would say to you, Ravacha. You want to know something? I even go with Ravacha when it comes to animals. Ravacha says that it needs to go entirely. I hold the same thing. It needs to go entirely by animals. It's boat. It's a boat that's different. What's the reason for that? Very interesting, Rav's logic. When did Ravacha say that the whole thing needs to move? That's by an animal. You see, the thing is like this. Rav says that when you pull the boat, you've moved the entire boat a little bit. It moves exactly in sync. When you pull the boat, the whole boat moves. When an animal moves a leg and a foot, an arm and a foot, half the animal is still backward in its position. You didn't move the whole animal. So you moved half the animal forward and half stays here. So he says, Ravacha, I agree with Ravacha when it comes to animals. Ravacha would agree to me when it comes to a boat. That you have to move, that you don't have to move the whole boat out of its position, because even a little pull moved the whole boat. That's considered a kinyan. Once you move it a drop, move the whole thing. Rav's logic is great. Shmuel says Shmuel says exactly the opposite. I could fit with the Tanakama that says that by an animal it can move just to drop. Why did they say that by animals it can move just to drop the hand and the foot? Even the Mekka Yad V'Regel, Idach Lemekka Kaima. Once it moved the hand and the foot, what comes next? It can't stay in that position and has to move the next foot to balance itself. Just stay like that. But by the boat, if you pull it a drop, it's not going to move the whole way. It's not going to move out of its position. If you pull it a little bit, it's going to move a little bit. You have to pull it more to move it more. But the animal, you moved it a little bit, it's going to move out of its position. It's going to step up and move to the foot is going to move. The other foot is going to move. So, okay, let's leave it over here. Shukayach.